Today we're watching Bentellect has completely lost everything.
Bentellect built a successful career on TikTok from reading and reacting to funny memes, but it all came crashing down when he was exposed for his predatory behavior, turning his career into one of TikTok's most disturbing scandals of all time. My name's Ryan, and we'll be looking at how Bentellect ruined his own life and career and where he is now. Bentellect became famous for a formula that was very straightforward. He would steal tweets and Reddit posts, then read them aloud, and finish with his signature facts.
Hey man, just like me for real.
Sibling relationships are strong. I'd give them a kidney, but you weren't borrowing my church. Okay, sibling facts.
The entire video often consisted of nothing more than Ben laughing into the camera, with virtually no editing or originality behind it. Surprisingly, the simplicity of his videos was what made him blow up, and by mid-2021, he had gained over 11 million followers and a billion likes on TikTok.
Damn.
And the numbers across all of his social media got absurd, with followers, likes, uploads, and views all skyrocketing at once. Fans loved his content, with some leaving heartwarming comments on his videos saying, "Dude, I'm so obsessed with your videos, I can't go to bed until I see one." However, relying on a single formula eventually caught up to him. Audiences noticed that Ben was recycling content, sometimes even reacting to the same meme multiple times.
See, no, but they wouldn't be hating though if he was reacting to something new. So you should have just waited for real instead of trying to get one over on your audience.
The tone of the comments changed almost instantly, with people calling him out and even advising him to do something original. Soon, other creators picked up on it as well.
He obviously don't have skills. I obviously don't have skills that's original, bro. I just know how to talk.
Nick is not green, Flamingo, and several others began calling out just how repetitive his content had become, adding more fire to the criticism.
So with this kind of content, I don't even think I'd call it close to comedy. You're reading something that somebody else wrote, and then you just laugh at it.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Bentellect, you suck, dude. Just do something different.
But it was Nick's videos in particular that seemed to get under Ben's skin, and things took a turn for the worse once Ben started taking the criticism personally. He ended up copy striking one of Nick's videos, then followed—
That's lame. That's lame as fuck. Anybody can have their critiques on you. I don't delete negative comments. It's like, damn, that's how you feel about me. I'll still like them. I'll still respond to you. But that's all I can really do.
Ended up with an email threatening him saying, "The user is not only using my work from YouTube, but also from TikTok." A large part of the video is content that I created, including videos from the video sharing app Cameo and screen recordings of my social media accounts. About half of the content in this video is my work, and I still feel this video should be removed and want it to be looked into further. Nick then responded by releasing a full video exposing everything.
The fact that he tried to copyright claim, not just copyright claim, but copyright strike my video and get it taken down because I was making fun of him.
But what stood out the most was the tone of Ben's message. Instead of sounding like the harmless, goofy creator people recognized, Ben came across as aggressive and defensive, completely different from the persona he had built online. Things only got worse when Nick revealed that many of the tweets on Ben's personal Twitter account weren't original at all, but stolen from smaller accounts.
Here, he doesn't just use other people's content to make his own, but he straight up steals it and reposts it on Twitter.
He went as far as placing the tweets side by side, pointing out creators that Ben had stolen from. Ben had done it so much that it started to look more like a routine strategy, which simply involved finding a popular post, copying it, and relying on his large following to bury the original creator. And
the thing about it is that no idea is original. Every idea is built upon the previous idea. You feel me? Just like how your favorite influencer, like if it's comedy, fitness, whatever, they saw a format work and then they built upon it. If you add enough to it, hey, I guess you can call it your own. If you don't, hey, you can still call it your own, but other people may not agree with you.
Not long after, another creator named Noah Samson released a video discussing the situation where he played a clip of Bentellect unknowingly admitting on camera that he takes posts he finds online and uses them as a part of his content.
Everybody has seen a topic or video that they have either a little bit more information in, or they can make a little bit funnier, or they thought of an idea that the original creator didn't think about.
had just did a spoof on another guy who had that.
He explained it casually, not realizing how damaging the admission sounded, but the clip confirmed that the accusations were not exaggerated. Once that reality hit, the internet quickly turned him into a running joke. People began remixing his old videos into memes.
Horse and a cat being besties, goals, a mouse taking a selfie.
We could have been besties, Benny boy. I wish you hadn't been so afraid.
Editing his voice.
When you invite an OnlyFans model to your non-existent podcast, but then they say they don't want to hook up with your creepy, desperate 34-year-old self.
And sharing clips that made him an easy target. As the memes kept spreading, more creators began joining in, adding their own spins and edits to the trend. One of the people who contributed to the wave was a creator named John Casterline. John joked on his own page that Bentellect was probably terrified of how far the memes had gone.
Listen, I know this trend where everybody tries to scare this dude shitless is a joke, but I guarantee you this dude goes to bed with the slightest thought in the back of his head that someone is actually gonna take things a little seriously.
But Ben didn't take the joke lightly. He posted a response video making fun of John's content through comments such as,
hell. Secondly, dude must have ran out of content because that trend is 2 years old. Honestly, dude just sits in his room telling stories in his bed.
but their comeback
You gotta take the good with the bad, bro. What the fuck are you doing? That was lame as shit. Cause not only do you know what you're being made fun of for, which honestly, even if they're haymakers or jabs, at the end of the day, your name is going viral. And what you could do is pivot.
didn't land the way he hoped because John responded almost immediately and exposed him by saying,
Well, you just trapped yourself. Why would you ever try to roast someone else's content when you know damn well all you do is read tweets? Are you kidding me?
In his follow-up video, John also showed that after he made the meme joke, Ben had tried calling him several times on Instagram.
And I go to our messages and find out that he called me about 17 times.
He showed a long list of missed calls, something that didn't look like a friendly attempt to clear things up. Instead, it looked like Ben was genuinely upset and urgently trying to confront him. The repeated calls made it clear that the memes were getting to him in a serious way, and once again, people were seeing behavior that didn't match the calm, easygoing character he portrayed on camera. Around the same time, Bentellect also found himself clashing with the hosts of the H3H3 podcast, who had previously roasted his content on their show. Ethan and Gila criticized his repetitive meme format.
About him, he's this guy on TikTok. He just steals people's videos and goes, "Whoa, that's crazy!"
But it was more commentary rather than a personal attack.
I feel
my brain is suffering.
An aneurysm opening up.
Yeah.
However, Ben did not see it that way. Instead of brushing it off, he uploaded a response video disguised as a top 5 people who hate me list. Notably, the very first person he addressed was Gila Klein.
On Gila Klein.
Rather than responding with self-deprecating humor or taking the criticism lightly, Ben took direct shots at her, mocking her and making comments about her appearance.
And she looks like she hasn't smiled in years, so I'm not surprised.
The tone was bitter and immediately stood out to viewers, becoming clear that the criticism had affected him far more than he wanted to admit. Fans of the H3 podcast quickly noticed and started calling Bentellect out in the H3 subreddit, writing, he either
It's a subreddit.
laughed it off or said he respects them. Why be mean to Gila? Why insult her appearance? It felt so unnecessary and weird. This guy better pump his brakes. That woman is a national treasure. And he's really insecure. He's intimidated by strong, independent women, so his reaction is totally on brand. The post gained traction, with many agreeing that Ben's response had crossed the line. But as bad as things had already gotten for Bentellect, the situation was about to escalate into something far more damaging than memes or copyright strikes. Around this period, Ben
Which is crazy, because you could have came back from all of that.
began branching out from his usual meme react content and started reaching out to creators completely outside of his niche. One of the creators he contacted was an OF model named Jordan Maxx, and what seemed like a harmless collaboration quickly turned into one of the biggest controversies of his career. On July 30th, 2023, Ben and Jordan had planned to film a simple pickle tasting video for his channel. Jordan had already set aside time for it, and everything was ready for filming. But just 3 hours before they were supposed to film, Ben sent her a message completely unrelated to the original plan by asking whether she would also be down to record extra content for her OF page. To which Jordan politely declined, explaining he wasn't prepared for that type of collaboration and
All right, so what the fuck? She was down?
Didn't even have the necessary testing documents prepared. And that was when things got strange. Right after she said no, Ben responded saying, no worries, hey, gonna do the pickle video with someone else, thanks though. And when Jordan asked him why he had cancelled, he replied saying, to be honest, I thought it would just be fun to film and see where things go, but I got it. But looking at it critically, it looked like Ben wanted the entire collaboration only to be set up for something else. Jordan then decided to share the story on Twitter saying, I was invited to be on a podcast by a pretty popular TikTok creator, and 3 hours before we were supposed to record, he asked me if I wanted to make an OF video with him, which I declined, and 1 hour before we were supposed to meet up, he cancelled. At first, the tweet didn't get much attention, making it seem like the situation would eventually fade away.
Bro, it's the fact that she said, no, you don't have the proper test done. It isn't no, you're ugly. No, I will never touch you. No, I cannot look you in your eyes. It's no, you don't got the proper tests, right? If you would have had the proper test, you know, we could talk. We could talk, especially about revenue splitting. You're pretty big. Hold on. Pause. Fuck. You're a big creator.
But then Ben made a big mistake when he sent Jordan another message telling her to delete the tweet or he would sue her. Instead of clearing his name, the threat immediately backfired. Jordan posted a screenshot of the message, and that was the moment the situation exploded. People who had ignored the original tweet were suddenly paying attention, causing the story to spread fast and eventually gain over 1 million views. But she wasn't the only one. Soon after her tweet blew up, Jordan received a message from another woman who exposed Ben for trying to use the same tactic on her. She provided screenshots of her own interactions with him. It showed messages that blurred the line between a regular collab and something a little different. In one of the screenshots—
Hold on. Do you want to come over tomorrow night? Actually, are you down to come over tonight? Or are you just a flake? Yeah, sorry, babe, but you're just too much of a flake. Bye. Wow. Tell me you don't get any butt without telling me you don't get any butt.
She shared, Bentellect said, do you want to come over here and spend some time with me? Because on a side note, I do think I could probably make us some money on OF. Bentellect fucks crazy bitches into oblivion. If you come over, I'll give you $1,000. I just really want you.
So what happened to the collab turned into prostitution? I'm crying.
However, when the woman refused, he became disrespectful and aggressive, mirroring what Jordan had experienced.
Wait. Yeah, no, if you wouldn't have texted me so rudely calling me a flake after one day of not texting, you might have stood a chance. That's what I'm talking about.
Said, yeah, whatever, go f yourself. Says the girl who's trying to make an OF. Good luck. She then responded saying, first you want to make content with me and now you're throwing it in my face, LMAO. To which Ben responded by saying, save your words, you're just a flake. If you were actually upfront, I'd be down. But you probably have a lot going on, which is understandable. But either way, I honestly don't care. Things were looking bad for Ben, but no one was prepared for what was about to happen next. The next day, Jordan posted another tweet saying, another woman has come to me wishing to remain anonymous, sharing her experience with Bentellect. This dude is a predator. In the message, the woman described her experience saying, I hooked up with him for a while in 2019 or 2020, back when he was attempting to be a rapper. He's a pretty shady guy. We matched on Tinder and he said he was 25, but later he told me he was 29. When I was trying to stop hooking up, he kept telling me he seriously wanted to try dating. After seeing him another time, he told me he wasn't looking for anything serious, then gaslit me that he never said anything like that with me. He called me crazy and said he hopes I find help. I found out he already had a girlfriend, and when I told her, she told me that he was 31. She told me he also lied to her when they started dating. He was literally lying to hook up with younger girls on Tinder. Jordan then posted a screenshot of a
Learn Spanish with Real Spanish TV. Click on
another woman who narrated her experience with Bentellect. Actually, he's bothered a lot of women. He told me he loved me and asked me to move in right away. I started pushing back that it was too much and he flipped out on me. It was days after I was cheated on and he was like, I don't want to talk about your feelings, I want to talk about us. He's an alcoholic and needs to seek help immediately. I'd also have a lawyer if I were you because he's the type to sue even if he doesn't have the grounds to. And on other platforms like Reddit, things didn't look look any better for him either. As the allegations spread across Twitter, Reddit users began digging into Bentellect's behavior as well, particularly on the H3 podcast subreddit, where one post quickly gained attention. The post was titled "Bentellect is just as bad offline," where the anonymous user wrote, "If there's anyone who deserves to be deplatformed, it's definitely this guy. I don't know how he even has 11 million followers on TikTok with his garbage content." The user then claimed the situation went beyond Bentellect wanting to create content with OF models. But just to confirm, he is as awful as all the screenshots suggest. He dated a friend of mine on and off and has no redeeming qualities. She's not a very open person, but one day she was feeling down and eventually let me read through some of their texts to explain why. I was in literal shock at the vile he was spitting, all because she wouldn't come over and F him, of course. According to the Reddit user, the messages allegedly included name-calling, insults, and degrading language. The post ended with the user writing, "It was so bad it made me cry just reading through them. I was so happy to see his face pop up on TikTok gossip accounts and thrilled to hear him dragged on the pod. Truly a garbage human, and I hope he loses every bit of the little clout he has." Almost immediately, people were commenting saying things like, "Ben the type of guy to say no more Mr. Nice Guy" after getting rejected. Even Jordan Maxx left a comment on the post showing just how serious the situation had gotten and offering moral support to the victim. By this point, all the platforms are all telling the same story, and Bentellect's reputation was collapsing everywhere at once. The situation had turned from what looked like one tiny mistake into a clear pattern. Screenshots kept spreading, and the more people saw, the worse the optics became for Ben, with fans describing him as entitled, manipulative, and gross. Realizing the situation was spiraling, Ben eventually responded publicly. He released a statement saying, "I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations. I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women. I grew up in a home with 3 sisters and no brothers, so I learned very early on the importance of power, love, and abilities women have. They deserve to be cherished and uplifted and treated with respect, and that's how I live my life. I do not condone the statements or accusations that have suddenly been hoisted upon me, and I wish to speak to anyone who feels they have been wrong."
That's a pretty solid response. Was ChatGPT going crazy back then? In 2023? I don't know.
But the internet was not convinced. His statement felt generic, and it didn't address any of the specific screenshots being circulated. And unfortunately for him, the allegations kept coming. More women posted their own experiences, each new story adding another layer to the growing drama. Pressure ended up being too much for him, to which he would block Jordan Maxx, and eventually made an apology video.
"I'm sorry to anyone that I've made feel uncomfortable. I want to say to any girl who I've been rude to, whether through text or in person, that I'm sorry."
Did they dox his number? If not, then this apology video just literally says that you are convicted of the crimes.
I understand that me being sorry does not excuse that kind of behavior. I will continue to work on myself and do better.
However, the second apology didn't work as well, with fans saying things like, "Bro, he sounds like he doesn't give a crap," and he ended it off like we would automatically forgive him for sexually harassing women. And "This guy doesn't care at all, what a jerk." The controversy eventually reached a much wider audience when Moist Critical stepped in to give his take on the—
Damn, Charlie, come on, man. He be cracking on people's careers. Sneeko was a survivor, though.
Entire situation. On August 20th, 2023, Charlie uploaded a video about Ben titled "A Huge Loser," a title so blunt it barely needed any further explanation. In his breakdown, Charlie pointed out something that had become hard to ignore.
It seems like the only thing on this guy's mind is sex, and how he's never getting it, I guess, but is very desperate too, and will do it by any means necessary to try and achieve coitus.
Which is crazy, because once again, these OF models were gonna do it. He just needed to have some patience, and that $1,000 could have bought you a couple prostitutes, gang.
When he got turned down, he immediately spiraled into anger or self-pity because things did not go his way. To Charlie, it looked less like a creator handling rejection and more like someone whose entire personality had become fixated on chasing women he couldn't get.
It seems like you're trying desperately to get into OnlyFans but keep getting rejected and can't handle it. So how can you have the gall to try and shame them for it when you are desperately trying to do it yourself?
He then moved on to Ben's apology, highlighting how unusual his wording was about including women, and how it failed to address any of the actual concerns being discussed.
I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations.
I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women.
If that's not the biggest red flag immediately, I don't know what else is.
Almost like Ben was trying to act sincere rather than actually owning up to anything. More than a year later, Ben resurfaced with a video attempting to respond to Charlie's criticism. The video was captioned, "Penguins is the real creep," and in it, Ben claimed that Charlie's coverage was nothing more than baseless slander, going as far as suggesting that Charlie had ruined his career.
He made a video slandering me over a year ago, but the damage it caused still affects me, my career, and my mental health.
He also argued that the screenshots circulating online were fake.
He made up a story reading fake screenshots from Twitter that I started a fake podcast to get girls, OnlyFans girls specifically, to come and hook up.
Implied that he was considering legal action.
A lot of fans have recommended that I sue Charlie. Other commentary channels even make videos detailing the damage.
And even tried to shift the blame onto Charlie.
I would argue that Charlie reading strangers' private text messages makes him and his followers more of a creep than me texting a girl.
Instead of clearing anything up, the video came across as Ben trying to redirect blame toward commentary creators in the hopes of regaining sympathy from his audience. But this wasn't the first time Ben had attempted this strategy. In a separate incident, he tried to portray Billie Eilish as a bully after she created a parody using his videos. He suggested that she was encouraging her fans to hate him.
Yo, she did her big one on that though. That was a joke, nigga. Bro, he can't take anything. He can't take any type of criticism.
Even though the parody simply demonstrated the same reactions that Ben regularly used in his own content.
Posted this video knowing that it was making fun of me to her millions of followers, and in turn would cause her followers to come and hate on me.
It was another example of Ben taking criticism too personally. After months of silence, Bentellect finally tried to clear his name by uploading a video that managed to make everything even worse. The video was titled "Commentary Channels Love to Lie," and from the moment it opened, it was obvious that the only thing Ben was interested in was painting himself as the victim.
This is actual proof that no matter what I do, regardless of it, people will talk about it because apparently it gets views.
Instead of addressing anything properly, Ben spent the entire video insisting that every creator criticizing him was a clown and chasing views off his downfall.
Let me just say this, the story...
Half of that is true. I don't think they're clowns, but we definitely do chase views off of your downfall because you fucked up online publicly. So I see no reason why we can't.
Is that I started a podcast to leverage my fame to sleep with women. False. And any other person who tells you otherwise is lying. For fame, for views, or whatever reason.
According to him, the allegations weren't real scandals, going on to suggest that they were just made up stories.
Oh my god, I've dealt with Bentellect too. Actually, he's bothered a lot of women. Where's the name? This is just a text message, and people take it as like a story. It's not a story.
But the more he talked, the more it became clear that he wasn't defending himself, rather he was running from reality. He also responded to Nick is Not Green's accusations about the copyright strike, and in his defense, he didn't know the difference between a copyright claim and a strike.
I just point blank thought when someone used your videos, you put in a copyright claim. I didn't know there was a difference at the time between strike or claim or whatever.
This explanation would have been weak on its own, but because of how big a creator he was, it made no sense trying to lie that he didn't know the difference between the two. Also, if Ben's logic of copyright striking was applied to his own page, nearly all of his content would have had to be removed. After all, most of his videos were built on memes and screenshots he didn't own. But the moment that really destroyed the comeback was when he addressed a situation involving the OF model Jordan Maxx. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, Ben gave
Yo lost his career over this. I ain't talking shit, I'm just saying.
An absurdly ridiculous excuse saying,
maybe I need to go do some research on her. Maybe I'm not seeing what he was seeing. Hold on.
She was gonna come over and I texted her this. So, yep, this is a drunk text at noon. I was blackout drunk. It was just dumb.
At
It was
noon?
just stupid. And she tried to blow it up into something that it wasn't.
The problem was that Jordan and multiple other women had already presented overwhelming evidence, so Ben blaming the liquor only made him look dismissive, entitled, and unwilling to take responsibility. And while that excuse didn't carry any weight, the whole video was so unrealistic that even his most loyal fans couldn't take it seriously. Just pack it up, it's been over a year. Funny how he was drunk every time he texted them. By the end of that same year, Bentellect's career had completely stalled. His TikTok videos that once pulled in millions of views were barely hitting 6 figures, and eventually he ended up losing over 300,000 followers.
Damn.
His YouTube account followed the same downward trend. With over 3 million subscribers, some of his most recent uploads are only getting a few thousand views, numbers that made it clear his audience had moved on. The comments, once full of support and laughter, had turned into ridicule, with fans openly questioning why he was still posting, and also mocking him with his signature catchphrases, which he often used at the end of his memes. It was at this time that things got even stranger on Instagram. Bentellect began watermarking memes, placing his name over existing images just to make it look like his own. Behind the scenes, his other platforms were collapsing too. His merchandise store was taken down, and his Cameo page had barely any activity, with reviews dating back to before his controversies even came to light. Sponsorships were nowhere to be seen, and his other revenue streams had dried up. Bentellect also ended up opening an OF account, a sharp departure from the family-friendly meme content that had originally built his audience. It was obvious that this was just a desperate reaction to lost sponsorships and declining views, with him resorting to anything to earn a little bit of money.
Shit, man, I'm about to start an OnlyFans, and I'm a small creator. I'm still about to start OnlyFans. Fuck it.
And through his downfall, what stood out the most was a video he captioned as
Wow.
Bentellect lost
Hey, at least he bought a house.
everything, which came out as him seemingly making fun of critics who said his career was over. But the comment section quickly turned the joke back on him with replies like, "Yep, you really did," and "Don't think we forgot about the podcast." If you enjoyed this video,
Hey, nah, terrific documentary. Thank you, Ryan. You know, you definitely earned that subscribe from me. Tell me what your guys' thoughts are in the comments down below. He had an alcoholic problem. He was on the rise. He made it, and then he plummeted. And it is what it is. But like up, sub up. Tell me what your guys' thoughts are, and I'll catch you on the next one. Grit your teeth and chase your dreams.